especially with other players in general.
And we're in, and no one crashed. All right, so this is the first round
Perfect.
of the Ceres
Alright.
tournament of January 2017. I'm with FoxBlazing.
Hello.
This is an interesting map. There's a lot of resources. It's less sad than you'd expect most of the time.
Mostly from the top left. You got here in the down right, that's mostly just empty.
Yeah, but there's a lot of really good stuff. At the top, there's a very nice robot with a combo tile, I guess, but still that's valuable. There are 2 high carbon tiles with expensive carbon in the northeast.
Alright, and Game Slayer dropped with expensive.
Macros is going to be the scientist, and I quite like that because he can reach iron. It's not far, so he can probably connect it easily with power or something. And he has
food
access
is
to
very
that water.
expensive. Food is also expensive at the moment, so...
Yep, so it makes it a very natural transition. Varlet is taking a scavenger with a low and a high. I guess the benefit of that is that he has quite a few really good water tiles next to him, as opposed to having run on ice, which he still can do if he needs to.
The black market is online.
Game Slayer going with the 2 windmills, steel mills, side to side.
He's having an interesting layout here with having just 2 low iron tiles with a bit of aluminium, and then an extra mine with uranium and iron. So it's an interesting configuration, and also it's very defensible because they can't possibly take out all of his steel or all of his iron with one freeze.
Meanwhile, everybody has finally reached to level 2.
I like what RainbowIdeology is doing. He stole not just a tile from Macros, but he also blocked his access to the rest of the water quite efficiently. And on top of that, he's abusing a cave tile and just having a double high water at the moment.
Indeed. Alright, let's see what the rest.
Also, I'm not sure I'm totally happy with the way Macros configured his steel mills, because he took the slightly further steel mills, but that makes him more more vulnerable to pirates, because it's a bit harder for him to. Yep.
There's a good example right there.
And the interesting part is that it's also going to steal the aluminium that RainbowIdeology is mutinying away from Varlet. And normally that would be a bad thing, but aluminium is actually very expensive. So, and here comes another set of pirates. So that's really painful for Varlet. For Macros, sorry. And the freeze comes down on Game Slayer, which is good, so it's going to stop the power play. The colony is not a power colony, but I think power started double, or something like that, because the price of power is really rather terrible at the moment.
Well, it's exceeding very rapidly. 75, 77, 78. Just going every second.
Yeah, that's what you get with the 2 expansives and the scientist.
Yep, Rainbow and Game Slayer seem to be the only ones into power at the moment.
There's also quite a bit of water production at the moment, with actually Rainbow's water pump is degraded to a medium now, so that's gonna become a bit slower. And I just realized that Varlet's carbon tiles are actually also water tiles, so he's got excellent access to all sorts of water without having to use the solar condensers.
A scientific HQ has been upgraded. Meanwhile, there's this bid for 16k, and it goes to Game Slayer.
It's a great optimization center tile, which is something you do want to have in Ceres most of the time. And the first patent labs comes down for Rainbow Ideology. I would expect that he wants to get liquid batteries, naturally.
Well, it seems like in this game, liquid batteries is the strongest patent to achieve or acquire.
I would agree, and if I was him, I would be planning for liquid batteries, transition into ice, and then get teleportation, use those two water pumps. Once
Scavenger
the
HQ
medium
has been
pump turns into a
upgraded.
low, you can just repurpose those tiles for something else.
Mm-hmm.
Also, power is not dying because people are just freezing each other's power.
I mean, it's going down very slowly, but
Optimization
very,
center
very
is ready.
slow.
Time to
Well,
start
it's pretty much
improving
just started
everything.
going down now that Varlet and Macros both moved into power. And also Rainbow Ideology's power should be unfreezing any moment.
Oh,
Well,
another freeze.
never mind that.
Pirates.
Well, Macros is the closest one
Bandits.
to get power if he gets there, once he pays down that debt.
Yeah, he seems to be closest, probably because he was largely running on food, which doesn't take that much power.
Mm-hmm.
Let the bidding begin.
It's a bit
Well, it's
surprising.
producing a very good amount of money for him.
He also hasn't been consuming fuel, I guess, which is his difference from Varlet, who had to ship quite a few things.
Let's get Rainbow here.
And this is, of course, hilariously brutal liquid batteries coming off an auction.
Congratulations.
And Macros apparently is the
I
one
don't
who
know
gets
what to
it.
do with
Uh,
I don't know what to do with that.
16k feels a little bit cheap to me.
Well, it's 18K, but
Oh, 18k.
that's still cheap.
I would imagine that well, Rainbow Ideology obviously
The
doesn't really
black
want to
market
pay
is open
more
for
because
business.
he's very much in debt. But everyone else must have some kind of an ambition to make power money, which is a little strange to me because power is really on its way down.
Yep, and Macro seems to be the only one actually making the power money that's been going down
The
further.
scavenger HQ has been upgraded.
Yeah, again, in part because of that life support. That's another reason. Because he had food, he was paying less money on food, and that's something that is often overlooked on Mars, but on Ceres it's just so important to keep in mind that life support is also a major source of debt, not just power and fuel.
Oh, now Rainbow, the slant drilling.
I'm not sure what he wants to do with that though.
Exactly. Good use of this. And you can get a bunch of combo tiles with your metal mines.
Well, I guess the
How
big
could
idea
one
would be
assume
silicon,
such a
which is
wonderful
something we
plot of
hadn't
land?
mentioned, is that there are only 3 silicon tiles on the map.
Yes, he has opened that.
So he's looking forward to having a very good source of silicon. Even once his high tile diminishes, he's going to have a lot, whereas the other players are going to be stuck with what they can take. And this is Game Slayer triggering an auction on this tile, which is a low aluminium tile, which is worth
Which
something.
Macros really
So-
wants.
And that's understandable, and that's kind of the problem of auctioning of resource tiles, especially when aluminium is so expensive, is that people will actually bid pretty high on it, even if it's a low tile.
One thing I don't like what Macros is doing is... Oh, never mind. Looked at that completely wrong.
An expansive HQ has been upgraded.
It's a bit surprising that people have stopped pirating his steel. I guess steel isn't really that super expensive, and it's better to pirate aluminium at the moment, actually.
The black market is online.
Part of that is because Rainbow never really
Scientific
took
HQ has been
aluminium.
upgraded.
GameSlayer took very little aluminium.
The black market
And
is open for
the
business.
two tiles that Varlet and Macros have together just constantly are getting attacked, mutinied, frozen. So aluminium crept up.
I mean, he has the other one, but he hasn't done anything with it.
I'm a little surprised by that. I wonder if he realized he even won that tile. Because I guess he might want to put a solar panel there, but put where aluminium is at the moment, I would not consider doing that. I would actually want to put an actual aluminium tile there. Also, an idea that just struck me for no particular reason is how brutal mutinies on something like aluminium is on Ceres, because not only you're getting the resource away from someone else, but you're also diminishing the tile potentially for someone else.
Well, it seems Macros is now completely open.
Apparently,
Yeah, yep, there he is.
well, I don't know what to say.
I think the biggest issue was not getting his aluminum.
He does have aluminum, it's just that it was low
New
tiled and
land
was
is available
frozen,
for auction.
so he was stuck without aluminium for a while, and
Yeah, but also aluminium was also his main only cash producer, cash cow at that time.
I will say that he could have shipped his steel or something. I'm not sure if it would have been enough for him to defend. Very much possible that it wouldn't, but it's
I mean,
at least something he can try to do.
he could have also switched it to reactors because food was just so low, and he kept staying in food for so long.
Yeah. Also, maybe not auto-selling food. I think he was auto-selling food throughout all this time. That would have been very strong for him because at one point he dropped food down very low, below 100. Oh, that's very low for Series. And I think he still kept auto-selling it, and I feel like it would have helped him a lot if he just stopped, at least for a while. Because I don't think anyone challenged him for food. Except maybe Varlet, but two farms aren't really that strong.
Oh, Rainbow got teleportation. Let's see what he's using it for.
That's a big deal, I would say, for him.
Especially when it comes to fuel cost, which is slowly going down.
Yeah, fuel costs also moving into ice and forsaking these two water pumps and turning them into whatever at this point would be an idea, in my opinion. Also, just he needs to make a ton of money at the moment, which is a hard thing to do because GameSlayer is probably also going to be making a ton of money. GameSlayer moved into a hacker and hacking electronics, which is a move you can do. I'm not sure.
An expansive HQ has been
It's,
Black market
upgraded.
is online.
it's
Once
probably
it's electronics. That's all that he is consuming electronics with those machining shops over there.
yeah. It's a thing you can do. I guess he kind of has to do it. Of course, he's also killing people as quickly as he can.
A scientific HQ
Because he's
has been
GameSlayer and he
upgraded.
likes to just kill people quickly. And at this point, now that he
Well,
managed to push to two
New
majority
building is
buyouts, I'm not sure
available
what
for
the other
auction.
people can even do. And by other people, I mean Rainbow.
especially with that $15 price stock, which is not so great.
Yeah. So if GameSlayer hadn't been actively buying stock, I would have said a thing that maybe is a thing I don't do enough myself, but I know I am aware that I should do it, which is on Ceres. There's some point during the day when all the prices
Advanced our production.
get bumped up a little bit, and it's a
Especially water.
I think there's like a moment where everything just moves up by a little bit. Like there's like the colony consumes every resource on the market or something, and it's very valuable to actually not have cash on Ceres, but rather invest it into some resource that is not being produced by anyone. So it's good not to keep your money in stuff. Perhaps not good not to auto sell stuff like electronics at the moment.
These black market attacks on Rainbow is really hurting.
Yeah, definitely. When all of your buildings are so grouped together, there's something to be said about poor,
The hacker arrays
what do you call
finished.
it, building
Time to
placement
change
by
your
Rainbow,
passwords.
because there's really no excuse for him having clumped all of
Our methods
of his
continue to
buildings on
improve.
just two sides of his HQ.
Price manipulations to begin
He could have.
shortly.
He has at least some tiles down south that he doesn't need to connect with the rest of the tiles.
I mean, he also has teleportation, so that also could work out a different way.
That's a good point. When you have teleportation, you really don't want, you really can't afford not to
The
connect your
black
buildings at
market
all.
is
You
open
can
for business.
build a triangle next to your base, but not adjacent to your
The
base, because it's
scavenger
still close
HQ
enough
has been upgraded.
that it doesn't take a long time to transition stuff. But
New building is available
um,
for auction.
it is more, it is better protected. Now Rainbow is making some money though, so GameSland does need to watch out a little bit.
He's making good amount of money with those reactors, especially.
Congratulations.
Yeah, reactors are
Game Slayer's,
excellent.
yeah, and he's Game Slayer's barely entering that.
GameSlayer is just now moving into reactors of his own. Power is a tricky thing, and
Optimization routine
GameSlayer is
successful.
at this point is making an excellent move. He knows that the end of the game should be near, so he transitions out of power.
Prepare for
And
pending market
frankly, well,
adjustments.
there's a solar flare, and the eyes are killing power. But once it's going to be over, it's likely that power is going to start rising. But GameSlayer doesn't necessarily care about that, and actually he's defending, so that's good. So in the long game, I don't see Rainbow standing any chance.
And Rainbow's still staying in power, regardless of the price.
Yeah, and that's kind of a problem of his, that you don't really need these tiles at this point. Yes, you're heavily in debt, but the power at $3 isn't going to repay your debt anyway.
Especially when you're at
Market
over
misinformation in progress.
$300,000 of debt.
Yeah, you're pretty dead at that point, honestly.
that should, at that point, you should not care about debt anymore.
One more thing, a patent lab that only got 3 patents and was standing for the rest of the game pointlessly.
Exactly.
Yeah, not something I'm a fan of. Replacing it
Could
with
have
a...
been nice with an optimization. Would have been
Exactly.
nice. Oh, see, the water is creeping up rapidly at night.
Yeah, well, Rainbow did not move into solar power. He actually got a pile more low tiles, which is good for him, I guess. That's a lot of tiles, but he's expensive, so he kind of can afford something like that. But yeah,
I think the also biggest mistake Rainbow made was going to the patent lab early, because you invested all his money just into it, where you could have maybe upgraded, been a bit more productive.
maybe. But at the same time, I kind of like the patent lab early, because he was very heavy in debt. So at that point, you need to start making very aggressive plays if you want to. Uh, be able to repay the debt, and you're kind of forced to repay the debt.
And see, there's games where talking about the aluminum.
The aluminum shortage was probably natural because no one else had a hacker, I'm pretty sure, on the Game Slayer.
No one really also produced aluminum.
Yeah, if you look at aluminum, Game Slayer made 161k on aluminum.
Macros kept trying, but he kept getting frozen.
Yes, he only ended up making 17, but that's also part of because he was bought out very early. Well then, that was Sol 17, 18, 10.